as we talk about EMDR, right, how would you describe it or explain it to somebody who has no idea what it is?
I'll describe it in a way that I describe it to most consultees that ask me the same question. First off, I think everybody makes EMDR this giant thing, and it becomes very scary when we do that. It doesn't have to be, because we don't do that with other therapies.
Yeah.
We don't. So it needs to be organic in how we explain it. The best way that I explain it to anybody that's coming to my office is actually through their story. So most of the time, unless clients have done a little bit of research on their own about what EMDR is, and they usually come in with specific questions, and I'll kind of elaborate on that. But for somebody that has no idea what it is, we'll usually do a session first where I get to know them a little bit more. And then I'll take bits and pieces from their story. For example, you're telling me about some of these really upsetting memories that you've had with your family from when you were younger, and that, they still kind of come up in your life today. And you notice that, you still feel that same rage when you're in interaction with your mom and dad that you felt when you were 5. And I'll use that story to highlight how we can use this specific tool or therapy, EMDR, to go back to those experiences, work through that felt sense that you're holding in your body, so that you can really just think about it. And it's just like a memory of maybe like your vacation last year when you had a really good time. You can think about it, feel okay about it, you can feel maybe even good about it, and that's it. It stays there. And that's what we're doing with the therapy. And I really just simply explain it like that. I don't go into the technical elements unless somebody really wants it. But even that, the jury is out on, because nobody knows why it works. And maybe you've heard this is for a whole other conversation, but the predictive processing.
Yes.
And that's the new way that could explain EMDR. But that's how I like to explain it. Very simple, very story-based.
I like that. I like that idea of the story-based. One of the things that I do, I'm very tactile. And so when I explain EMDR to people is I use my hands and I go, so our brain's in 2 parts. And when and this is very simplistic, but when we experience a trauma, the right side of our brain goes off like a firecracker. And it goes off and takes a picture with all 5 of our senses, our emotions, and a negative belief at the center, right? I'm not good enough, I'm all alone, I'm unsafe, things like that. And what happens is if we don't process this within 24 to 72 hours typically, it kind of gets shoved in a cupboard. And, eventually what happens is the more times we have these experiences and these pictures, the cupboard gets really full, right? Until it's kind of overflowing. And so what happens is when all of a sudden we experience something that's triggering or activating and pushes one of these things, all of a sudden the cupboard flies open, the picture comes out, and it hijacks the left side of our brain, right? And this is when we can't talk ourselves through it. We feel like we're really anxious, or we're just like not okay, or hyperventilating, or nightmares, and we're just like unsettled, right? And we can't just get through it. And so we kind of just have to wait for our brain to get tired before we can kind of go, oh, wait a second, what was that all about? And so when I talk about EMDR, I say, we're going to take that picture out of the cupboard, and we're going to light it up in a really controlled way. And we're going to light up the left side of the brain. And with bilateral, we're actually going to help the left side of the brain talk the right side through the experience to integrate it. So therefore, it doesn't have to go back in that cupboard to be shoved in. It can now be put in a filing cabinet in an organized way. It doesn't mean it's gone. It doesn't mean you're going to forget what happened. It just means that you don't have that punch in the chest anymore when you think about it, right? That felt sense of that rage or that anger that you were talking about. And so when I describe EMDR to people, that's kind of how I describe it, is the bilateral lights up both sides, and then it helps you kind of integrate it.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. So I figure if like a 6-year-old can understand it that way, then it can work for kind of everybody. Is kind of my thinking.
I really like your explanation of that.
It's kind of my thinking. When you have people come in and be like, okay, Kyle, I want to work through this, and I want to do EMDR, and good to go, let's go, right? And they're like, well, my friend came, or my friend did it, or, I saw this thing on social media where the celebrity only had to do 1 session, and then all of a sudden everything was good. What are some of the like common myths that you see or you hear when it comes to EMDR?
So that's one of them, right? Like
Yeah.
that it's like quick. And for some people it is.
Totally.
And usually that difference that I notice clinically is the people that it works quicker for, they have more resources, I guess you could say. More resources from maybe more exposure of being able to feel their feelings and be okay with their feelings. Or more exposure time to having safe interactions in relationship where they've been able to feel their feelings and that those feelings have been accepted. Whereas clients that are coming in without those, it takes a little bit more time because we're building that capacity in relation. So to answer that really, with the client that comes in ready to go, there's actually a part of me that will indulge that a little bit. Because if I get a good sense, usually in the first session or two, that they have the tools to be resourced enough to move quickly, then we're going to go quicker. Because why would I want to hold them back if they're ready to go?
Yeah.
But for others that aren't, it's not that we're not going to do EMDR therapy, we're just going to do it at a slower pace.
Yeah.
Kind of like we're going to dip our feet into the shallow water as they're learning how to swim in this EMDR pool, and then if it feels good for them, we'll keep going, but if it doesn't, we'll step out. And I'm not going to throw them in the deep end because, like you said earlier in our own stories, if we did EMDR full speed when we weren't ready, it would probably do way more harm than good.
Yeah, I mean, the one I hear the most often is like, well, my friend came for 2 sessions and they dealt with everything, and so it's going to work that fast for me, right? And I go, okay, let's take a pause.
Yeah.
Right? And you're right, some people it works really quick, others not as quick. I find everybody's story is different, right?
Precisely.
And so coming in with the expectation that your story is going to look the same as your friend's story is not accurate,
Yeah.
right? Because you've both had very different experiences, positive, negative,
Yeah.
and all of those factors actually impact
Yeah.
the EMDR process.
Yeah. Like a little bit of a re-education for the client based on what they're coming in thinking it will look like.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the ones that I notice who it does work very quickly for often also are very resourced, or they have done quite a bit of therapy, right? They've done a lot of that like foundational work,
Yeah.
right? Like what I was talking about when I did with my my therapist that I saw for a long time, right? We did a lot of that foundational work to help me be okay and be ready to then work through those stuck points
Yeah.
with the EMDR.
Yes.
Right? Because I was stuck in these specific areas, but everything else was okay. And so the EMDR helped me with those stuck pieces. And so I find when clients do a lot of that other work, then when it comes to the stuck pieces, it actually can work really quickly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That makes sense.
One of the things we hear about often, and as a virtual therapist,
Yes.
I am very excited to hear your thoughts on this one, is that does EMDR work virtually? I don't know.
Yeah. Let me tell you a story behind that, Julie. So, 2019, pre-COVID, most, I wouldn't say all, but most therapists were in person.
Yeah.
Actually, if we even rewind to 2018, I was only in person, had an office. I don't today. I work from home 100% of the time. I walk 10 seconds to my office from my bedroom and I'm there. And I love it. But in 2018, my wife was encouraging me to go online. She's like, therapists are going online. I'm like, who are you talking to? Nobody's online.
Yep.
And then I had this preconceived notion or this judgment that I'm going to lose connection with people. I'm not going to be able to, I'm not seeing all of their body. I'm losing so much information, which is true. And then I was like, absolutely not. And then I was forced to in 2020 with COVID. It takes a whole pandemic for me to listen to my wife. I have some work to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fast forward 5 years, still online.
Yeah.
And I do all my work online, and I'm working with, similar to you, Julie, very complex cases, like clients that are coming in with severe complex PTSD, severe racial trauma, dissociative identity disorder, psychosis, schizophrenia. We're doing that work online. And the efficacy, I think probably on one hand, I can count how many people have said no to doing EMDR therapy online, not because it didn't work, but because they preferred just to go in person.
Sure.
And I said, yeah, all the power to you. I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
And everybody else has stayed with me online. And we've done online therapy effectively. Funny, right before actually we met today, I was curious about some recent articles, and I was looking at the International Association, and one that came out last month was a meta-analysis on the effectiveness of EMDR versus in person. And I was like, oh, well, maybe, 5 years later it's changed or something. I scroll down to the results, no significant difference. Does not matter.
Yeah.
It works the same. And I think sometimes, I don't know if you could say it works better, but I think one of the added benefits of doing it online for some people is that maybe if they're experiencing a lot of social anxiety, a lot of difficulty getting outside, and their safest place is their home in their room, then you're already kind of getting a few added bonuses right off the get-go.
Yes, I think that's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, I think it works amazingly. And what I always tell everybody that is coming to my practice or ever trying virtual is give them the option, right? Like if you have that as a therapist that you can do either, give them that option. Like we can try EMDR therapy. If you don't like it, we can do it in person. We can bounce back and forth. If me being exclusively online, I'll tell them, try a couple times with me. If you don't like it, I'll help you find somebody in person because that's going to work better for you. I don't want to leave you hanging. So give it a shot.
Yeah. I mean, we do it both ways. We do in person and we do virtual.
Yeah.
And like you said, some clients, it works better for them virtually because they're in their own space. They don't have to travel, right? They don't have to sit in traffic. They don't have to fight rush hour. Like, they can be cozy and, do what they need to do.
Oh, and rush hour for you guys is way worse than for me.
Yes, it's awful here, right?
Yeah.
So, like, for some people, they're like, I'd rather do it from home, right? And other people where home is chaos and not safe and whatever, they're like, no, I only will do it in the office because that's my safe space.
Yep.
Right? And so I think really it is actually just about client fit.
100%.
Right? And client preference.
100%. Interestingly, I've had clients where you're absolutely right, where home is not safe, and because I only work online, they still want to work with me, they will meet me in their vehicle in a safe spot privately, and we do the work.
Yep.
So it can be done on your phone, online.
I do the same. Yeah. I have done it over the phone with people. Right? It's not my preferred way of doing it, but when I know my client really well and, we have a really great rapport, I've done EMDR over the phone with them. Yeah. Right? And it works amazingly.
Precisely. Just a little adaptation.
Yep, exactly, right? It's being fluid, it's being flexible, it's adapting it to your client and to your needs. So one of the questions that we've had clients come in with is, some of them have seen EMDR therapists before outside of our clinic here. And some of them have had not great experiences. Yeah. Some of them have had great experiences, others have not. And some have had no experiences. And sometimes people are afraid of, well, what if it doesn't work for me, right? Or like, what if it goes wrong? Or what if I'm not okay? Or what if I start crying and I never stop, right? Like all of a sudden I open this Pandora's box and I'm not okay. Yep. Right? And so these are very, very common fears that people have when they come in. And I imagine your clients would feel the same, right? And definitely. How do you walk them through that? How do you kind of talk them through some of those fears? Yeah.
Well, I think there's multiple answers here because there was a lot of questions.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions in there. Yeah.
You might have to reiterate some because I don't know if I remembered them all. But the immediate thought is that sometimes people come in when they're doing trauma work and have this idea that I'm going to have to, like, I think a barrier for a lot of people is coming in because they believe they have to share the details of what they've gone through before. Yes. And EMDR or otherwise. But especially for some reason people think, EMDR, I'm to tell them all these things that I've experienced. And the beautiful thing about EMDR, because it's so somatically focused, well, let me put a caveat to that. It's so somatically focused when you have a therapist that is allowing you to focus in that direction.
Absolutely.
When you focus in that direction, we don't need the details because we know the body holds what is left over from the traumatic situation that you've been through. So you can have clients, I let people know that you can come in. If the details are important to you, I will listen and I'm happy to go through it all. But if you don't want to share anything with me, but just tell me that you have this pang in your gut, or you have this feeling in your chest or this tightness all over your body, that's really all we need to get started, and you never have to share the details. And I'd say 9 out of 10 times that is good enough. Maybe 10 out of 10 times that's good enough for people with that worry.
Yeah. I have found the exact same, right? And many times we focus on the somatic presentation of whatever it is that they're holding. We process that, and they never tell me what happened,
Yeah.
right? And then other times they're like, oh no, I need to actually tell my story now.
Yeah.
And I can tell my story now.
Yes.
Because my body is not stopping me anymore from telling my story.
Yeah.
Right? And so, we use the same language
Yep.
with our clients around the fear of, what happens if.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What about if they're afraid it's not going to work for them?
And are we talking about somebody that's never tried it or somebody that's coming in and they've had it before?
Both.
Both? Yeah. So I guess I'll start with the one that has had EMDR before. If they come in and they said they've had EMDR before and they're not sure if they want to do it again or they don't want to do it again, I'm going to ask if they're okay talking a little bit about their EMDR experience with me, because we kind of alluded to it earlier that sometimes, and I'm not blaming any clinicians here,
Yep.
everybody works differently, but sometimes there are clinicians that are following it more that 1 to 8 and don't have that versatility and flexibility to adapt it to what your client needs in that moment. So I might ask them about that without any judgment of their other therapists, but really getting to understand how they've experienced EMDR. And I'll really explain it to them that sometimes it's about timing. Maybe at that time it didn't work for them, and now we try it again, it might look a little different. Most of the times, actually, and this might be something we'll have to look into, but most of the times when we do it, or when they do it with me, they say, I've never done EMDR in this way before.
Yes.
And my mind is blown.
Yeah.
But that's a whole other thing. So I'll usually ask them what their EMDR experience is like and let them know, just like that swimming pool analogy, we go at your pace. It's not me dictating how fast you're going. So if you want to jump in, we jump in. If it doesn't work, we get out, and I will help you get out. We don't have to see each other 1 week after the other following this script. I think you and I probably have said this together and probably tell others, but we don't want to be fitting our clients
Yes.
into the protocol.
Yeah.
We want to fit the protocol and adapt the protocol for our client's situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have found the same thing, right? Where clients who have had it before and it hasn't been a positive experience, or they're like, no, it didn't really work for me. I have found that either it hasn't been the right fit therapist-wise, right? And again, no judgment on a therapist, right? It's just fit is important.
Totally.
Sometimes it's that versatility or that flexibility, especially if a client is neurodivergent,
Yeah.
right? If they're neurodivergent, often we have to do EMDR differently.
Yeah.
And so if a client is neurodivergent and they have seen a therapist that does kind of this 1 through 8 very strict protocol, that often doesn't work for their brain.
Yeah.
Right? So they're like, well, it doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Sure, it
point.
might not.
Yeah.
We know that the 1 through 8 doesn't work for you. But what if we get a little bit more flexible here and a little bit more creative, right? But then also, for the clients where maybe they came in or they are coming in and they're afraid of opening Pandora's box because then they can't close it. Right? I think this is where a lot of the prep, right, comes in, and that preparation and the resourcing and story and consent and communication and understanding, what that box is, and even talking around the box.
Yes.
Talking about the box, but not what's in the box.
Yes, that's
right?
a good way to look at it.
And so, and letting them know, you never have to tell me what's in the box, actually. Right? And you have choice in this as to what you take out of the box, and I will help you take out one thing at a time to work on one thing that feels comfortable and safe for you.
Yes.
And there are lots of ways that we can do that, but you as the client, you get to dictate that pace. Right? You get that voice, that choice, and that power, which was taken away from you when you experience those traumas.
Yep.
Right? And so I think really working with them around those pieces is key when, clients come in with fear around starting it, or it's not going to work, or what happens if. Right?
Precisely. And that's important because voice and choice, especially if they've unfortunately maybe experienced harm from a previous therapist, is so important. And I think we probably already do it, but I know we already do it, emphasizing that in the training that you're not going out and then prescribing this to people.
Yeah.
You're giving them voice and choice as you go through with them collaboratively.